right, welcome to the Friday edition of Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. Now, Napoli ended 3 decades of hurt as fans littered the stadium as well as the streets with lightning and, of course, in celebration and jubilation of a title in 33 years. Now, a whole lot to talk about in the under-17 AFCON. It is getting tougher. Now, more stories and analysis coming your way after this break. I am Nengi Ernest Ademola, and thanks for joining us this morning. All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. This is still Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. Now, let's bring you up to speed with what is going on in the Federation Cup 2023 in Nigeria. Now, the hopes of Rivers United winning a double in Nigerian football has been dented a huge blow after crashing out of the 2023 Federation Cup. Now, the pride of Rivers returned to the country from Tanzania on Monday, where they played their second leg of the CAF Confederation Cup against the Young Africans of Tanzania. Now, the Tanzania side sent out the Nigerian champions 2 goals to nothing on aggregate scoreline, and their return to the domestic scene ended in a defeat also as they lost the Federation Cup to Eyimba International on penalties, and the entire duration of the game ended goalless. But the People's Elephant progressed into the round of 16 via penalty shootouts, and that one ended 5-4. While the 5-4 victory for Eyimba means Rivers United crashed out of the 2 major trophies in 4 days. Okay, you talk about the likes of Manchester City, of course, in the EPL going for the treble this time around. I mean, it's no bad. I think that was what Rivers United were trying to do at this point in time, going for a treble, talking about the fact that they want to still win the NPFL, they still want to reign as champions for the Federation Cup, and if possible also win the CAF Confederation Cup, but that wasn't possible. As for the CAF Confederation Cup, definitely they lost their very first home game to the Young Africans of Tanzania, of which was in their disadvantage, and eventually they lost on goal aggregate and they were out of the CAF Confederation Cup. Now, aside from that, coming back home, of course, they missed a whole lot of matches, most especially in the Federation Cup and in the Nigerian Premier Football League as a result of the fact that they were participating in the Confederation Cup. But on getting back to the domestic scene, we did talk about the fact that they lost via penalty shootout to Eyimba in the Federation Cup. And also, let's see what they can be able to bring further to the table when it comes to the Nigerian Premier Football League as they're in Group B in the NPFL. And I tell you for sure that it is only getting hotting up. As I tell you that I think 2 or 3 matches remaining for the end of the abridged league season for the NPFL. So we wish Rivers United all the best, and that's one. Let's see what they can be able to do with that. Now, moving away from that one, definitely, I think the 2021 edition of the Federation Cup was won by Bayelsa United, and of course they are still there slugging it out, and of course still participating in the NPFL. But the 2022 Federation Cup was left inconclusive. So let's see what can be done with the likes of Eyimba, with the likes of Bayelsa United still in the Federation Cup. Now let's move away from that one and talk about the under-17 AFCON. I did make mention of the fact that a whole lot is happening. I mean, it is getting tougher for Nduka Ugbade and his boys, talking about the under-17 AFCON campaign. Now, let's talk about Nduka Ugbade because he has revealed a game plan to be able to take on South Africa. And according to this particular site, definitely it is something that Nduka Ugbade has been working on quite for some time now. As the Golden Eaglets coach, Nduka Ugbade has asserted that they will improve on their finishing ahead of their final group game of the 2023 African Cup of Nations against South Africa. Now, Nigeria created a plethora of chances when they played Zambia in their first game of the under-17 AFCON, but they churned out a 1-0 win. Now, the same issue was evident in their second game against Morocco. However, it cost them as they fell a 1-0 loss to the North Africans despite controlling the game and recording 27 attempts on goal. Now, the Golden Eaglets play South Africa in their final group game on Saturday, and ahead of the fixture, Coach Ugbade has revealed that they will work on their finishing to ensure they get something from the tie. Of course, that has been our major problem. You talk about Nigeria, you talk about football, the Super Eagles down to the Falconets, down to the Super Falcons, finishing. The under-20 team for the male, the under-17 team for the male, finishing has always been one problem. And you do see them perform these finishing touches, most especially in warm-up games leading to a major competition. But on getting to a major competition, this problem still pops out. So let's see what Nduka Ugbade can be able to do to provide solution, even as they take on South Africa. And I tell you that it is getting tough because when you talk about the South African coach, he is saying that they know what to expect from Nigeria. Now, the coach of South Africa on the 17 national team, Duncan Curry, has stated that Nigeria was very unfortunate not to have converted the numerous chances they created into goals against Morocco. Now, he noted that Nigeria will be more difficult to play after the defeat to Morocco, and he expects his team to aim for at least a draw in the game, which will see them scale through to the quarterfinals. And definitely, according to his words, and I quote, Nigeria was very unfortunate not to get a goal against Morocco. They're a quality team, so it is going to be very tough. I tell you for sure, definitely it's going to be very tough against South Africa side, and that game is to come on Saturday. Now, still talking about the under-17 AFCON, I tell you for sure that Mali has stunned in that one yesterday, of course, as they have advanced to the quarterfinals. Mali stunned the reigning champions, Cameroon, with 2 late goals to qualify for the AFCON under 17 2023 quarterfinals. Now, a nail-biting finish to an intense game. Mali's players showed incredible resilience and determination to secure the 3 points against one of the tournament's favorite. And Mahamoud Bari scored with 4 minutes left, and Mamadou Dombia's scorcher in stoppage time secured Mali's passage into the quarterfinals of the Total Energies under 17 African Cup of Nations with a 2-0 win over Cameroon in Annaba on Thursday. That was yesterday. Of course, resilience and determination is all that a team needs in such a competition like this. And I do expect that Nduka Ugbade's boys, as the under-17 team, the Golden Eaglets of Nigeria, will be able to show such a resilience and determination when they take on South Africa. We'll see how that one is going to end. Now, let's move away from the under-17 AFCON and talk about what is going on currently for the 2023 AFCON qualifiers. Now, we do hear that a particular stadium has been rejected against the match that is to hold for Super Eagles, and it's none other than the Sierra Leone Stadium. Now, the hope of Sierra Leone hosting Nigeria's Super Eagles home in the 2023 AFCON qualifier has suffered a huge blow. The African Soccer ruling body initially agreed to have the game at the newly constructed Southern Arena in Bo City, but changed its mind earlier this week. Now, CAF decided that the game will not take place in the presented stadium, after it found out that the city lacked standard hotels. The decision will adverse effect on the Lone Stars' preparation because they must record maximum points in the remaining games if they must qualify for the biennial competition. And Sierra Leone's last appearance in the African Cup of Nations was in South Africa in 1996. And of course, what they needed to do was just to make sure that infrastructures are set and are in place to be able to host the Super Eagles. But the reverse is the case this time around. And of course, we've always talked about this. We've always talked about African countries not being able to host a major competition. Why? It's no other reason than the fact that they do not have enough infrastructure to be able to accommodate as many people as possible that are going to come for that major competition, which is a very sorry and pitiful sight, if you ask me. You have a stadium and you do not have hotels around to be able to accommodate people. People will come on from, different walks of life to support their various countries. I think it's a pitiful sight, and definitely things can only get better. But due to the fact that Sierra Leone Stadium has been rejected, probably they would want to go back to the drawing board and see what they can be able to do in terms of infrastructure. Now, at the beginning of the show, I did make mention of the fact that fans took up to the street of Naples. They lighted up the stadium in jubilation, and of course in cheers. I mean, the whole crowd, it was lit up because of the fact that Napoli has gotten a title in 33 years, and a very phenomenal man for Napoli this season. If I'm not mistaken, he has gotten about 22 goals for Napoli this season. Talking about none other than Osimhen, Victor Osimhen. I tell you for sure, he has been very phenomenal, and he's an African, okay? He's in Nigeria, and Victor Osimhen made history yesterday night as he became the highest scoring African player in Italian Serie A and second Nigeria to win Italian Serie A league title. That's a huge one for us. That's a huge one also for Victor Osimhen. Now, former Super Eagles forward Kanu Nwankwo was the first Nigerian to do when he won the Italian Serie A trophy with Inter Milan in 1999. And the Super Eagles striker on Thursday, that was yesterday, broke Samuel Eto'o's record for the most goals scored by an African in a single season with 23 goals. Now, Eto'o had scored 22 goals in a single season. That means that yesterday, with the very last goal he scored for Napoli, it got to the tally of 23. Now, the Nigerian forward scored the decisive goal in the second half as Napoli came back from trailing to Sandy Lovrish opener at halftime. Now, Osimhen's title deciding strike against Udinese was his 22nd goal in 28 league appearances and rightly caused bedlam among the mass ranks of away fans who took over Udine. And the Nigerian striker has had the best season of his career and been key to Napoli's historic charge to glory, becoming in the process one of the most devastating centre forwards in European football, clattering in goals left and right. Now, injuries slowed down the 24-year-old striker's scoring rate, but between returning from a thigh injury in mid-October and the recent round of the AFCON qualifiers last month, he averaged a goal a game. Now, Napoli owner De Laurentiis says a Serie A title starting point, Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia rubbing shoulders with Maradona, and over that period Osimhen scored 23 times in 23 matches in all competitions, propelling Napoli to the brink of a historic Scudetto and becoming a bona fide fan idol even before he scored the goal that secured the title on Thursday. I think it's a very nice one to write about. It's something that it's very phenomenal, I tell you for sure. Talking about Victor Osimhen, I mean, after returning from that thigh injury between mid-October up till now, he's gotten a goal for each game, which I tell you for sure Napoli would live to always remember the marks that Victor Osimhen has set in place for them. And now Napoli are leading second place Lazio with 16 points. That's for the Serie A Italian league, leaving them with a month-long parade between now and the end of the season, which will allow their long-suffering supporters to fully unload more than a generation of frustration. Of course, you're talking about the Scudetto title, and definitely Napoli has this one up and rolling. They needed just a point to be able to get to this one. And meanwhile, I think the weekend preceding this particular game on Thursday, actually, I think they got, was it a defeat? And definitely their celebration was put to a pause until yesterday's game against Udinese. Of course, Udinese couldn't stop that very last decisive goal from Victor Osimhen. And we'll go on a break right now and give you some very spectacular highlights from some of the games that were played yesterday, especially the one between Udinese and Napoli, and of course give you a bit of the celebrations around Naples. We'll be right back.